Hey there, welcome back. In today's video, I will show you 3 attacking ideas to crush the Scandinavian defense. Yeah, the Scandinavian defense is a very popular line, but at the same time, you can feel that by playing whatever, you can get a good position against it. And this is actually not true, as the Scandinavian defense is a pretty solid and also resourceful defense that we need to prepare. So in this video, I will explain 3 ideas to deal with the main line and to put black under severe pressure. Okay, without further ado, let's jump right into the first idea. Okay, first of all, e4, d5 is the Scandinavian defense. Yeah, black wants to remove our pawn from the center right away, and the cost is the tempi that will be spent by the black queen. Queen takes d5, knight c3, and queen a5. Yeah, now we have several ways to continue with our development, but in my opinion, d4, putting a pawn in the center and opening the dark diagonal for our bishop is completely normal. Now, after knight f6, the move I'm going to recommend is bishop d2. Yeah, we'll put pressure against the queen, but there is a well-hidden idea. To explain the idea, I need to play knight f3, and in that case, black can continue with bishop g4. We may unpin with bishop e2 and knight c6, putting pressure on d4. This is the aggressive setup for black. They start putting plenty of pressure on our d4 pawn. They are planning to castle, and yeah, you can feel the strength of the rook on the d file. After castle, long castle, and here we are now. We are struggling as our queen is opposed by black's rook, and our pawn is about to fall against bishop e3, g5. And this is what we must prevent. Yeah, and by playing bishop d2, we prevent it, actually. Yeah, now there are 2 ways to try to get that kind of positions, and the first way is knight c6, try to answer knight f3 by bishop g4, but the thing is that we don't play knight f3. We have a pretty strong move in this position. Our strong move is bishop b5. Yeah, we pin the knights and we have a very strong threat. For instance, if black plays bishop d7, white to play and win right away. Yeah, if you want, you can pause the video and try to find the move by yourself. Yeah, okay, the move is knight d5. Yeah, we attack the queen, and the queen has nowhere to go. Yeah, after queen takes b5, knight takes c7, and it's a family fork. We're attacking everything, and after king d8, knight takes b5. Yeah, so against bishop b5, a6 would run into the same fate after knight d5, again attacking the queen, and there is nothing black can do to save the queen. Well, so after bishop b5, black is into something pretty annoying. It is pretty nasty for black. Yeah, retreating with the queen to b6 may seem normal, but runs into d5 again. Now d5 goes against the pinned knight, and knight takes d5, of course, knight takes d5, queen takes b5, and again, knight takes c7, king d8, and knight takes b5, winning the queen. So, queen b6, d5, a6, and bishop a4. And there is nothing black can do to avoid losing one piece. Well, the only move is queen b4. Yeah, this is a little bit different from queen b6. But anyways, we continue with d5, a6, bishop a4, and after b5, knight takes b5. We are sacrificing the bishop, but we are going to capture the rook on a8. Queen a4, knight takes c7, king d8, and knight takes a8. Yeah, we have an extra exchange after knight takes d5. Still, we have some problems to extract the knight from that position, but actually it's not that such a big deal after knight e2, bishop b7. It seems we're going to lose the knight. In that case, even though we will still be pretty well, as black's king is very exposed, but even better, we have knight c3. And against knight takes c3, bishop takes c3, and we are going to strike the knight by b6, or in case of queen d4, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, and bishop e3, attacking the queen, forcing the trade. Queen takes d1, rook takes d1, and the knight will come from the corner. Okay, so after b5, knight takes b5, queen e4 is the best move, and we have to play queen e2. This is the only move. Otherwise, for instance, knight e2, they can play a takes b5, bishop takes b5, and simply queen takes d5, protecting the knight. So this can be avoided by playing queen e2, attacking the queen, and after a takes b5, we capture on e4, knight e4, and bishop takes b5, and we win the knight to stay with plenty of extra pawns. Okay, so as you can see, knight c6 is met by the pretty strong bishop b5 to give white an advantage. So that was idea number one. The second idea is bishop g4. Yeah, this is another way to try to reach positions with long castle. Now, if we continue with knight f3, knight c6, it's the same kind of stuff. They are going to play long castle and put plenty of pressure against our pawn. But we have the ugly looking f3. Yeah, this is something you have to know. Otherwise, you might be shy to play f3, as this is not such a beautiful move. The idea of f3 is that after bishop f5, we continue pushing pawns by playing g4. Now, after bishop g6, the normal looking, we continue with f4. Yeah, the bishop is getting trapped. We're threatening f5. And this can be pretty annoying for black. Yeah, if they rescue the bishop with h6, I guess f5, bishop h7, and the bishop will be out of the game for a long while. After f4, e6 is the normal move, and we have the dynamic continuation f5. Yeah, we want to open black's king, and yeah, we're forcing e takes f5, g5, surprising concept. Yeah, the idea is that knight e4 is not available, as knight takes e4 attacks the queen, so the knight has to go retreat to d7, and queen e2. Yeah, black's king is in the middle of the board, and in contrast, we're going to castle long right away, getting a fantastic position. Now, bishop e7 or king d8. King d8 is supposedly the best move, but of course, after long castle, we have a beautiful position. We are developing our pieces normally with bishop g2, knight f3, h4, sometimes bishop f4. We have a beautiful position. The pawn may advance, our rook may come to the center. So our position is simply plays itself. Okay, so after queen e2, bishop e7, we can continue by castling, but also by playing knight b5, attacking the queen, forcing queen b6, long castle, and things are getting really nasty for black. Knight c6, for instance, is answered by bishop f4, and yeah, black is into plenty of trouble. I guess we are almost winning. Okay, so this is an interesting way to react against bishop g4. We can play f3, bishop f5, and g4. And against bishop g6, f4, we play against the bishop. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward, but the difficult thing to do is to sacrifice the pawn with f5, e takes f5, and g5. Yeah, this is not so obvious, but afterwards our development is pretty strong, pretty easy after queen e2. Yeah, for instance, knight d5 is answered also with queen e2, bishop e7, and now queen e5, taking advantage of the pinned knight, c6, and bishop c4, attacking d5, attacking g7, and preparing simply castle, long castle, with a huge advantage. Okay, we move on to the third idea. We play bishop d2, they play c6. This is the solid setup. They want to open up this diagonal in order to retreat the queen. Yes, we have seen black's queen is facing some nasty problems in a5, so enabling queen c7 is a good idea, or even queen d8. Now bishop c4, controlling d5, bishop f5, and we have several moves here, but the one I like is queen e2. This is the attacking move. The positional alternative is knight d5, forcing queen d8, knight takes f6, and now after e takes f6, c3, or knight f3, and we have a pretty normal position. And the same goes to g takes f6, c3, e6, and if I remember well, knight f3, with a small advantage, a small but long-lasting advantage. But queen e2 is more ambitious. Yeah, we prepare long castle, and this is a way to bring all the power easily. And now black has several choices. The most normal is e6, but we have to consider queen c7, queen b6, and bishop takes c2. Well, let's start with queen b6 as we simply castle. It's pretty obvious that this kind of position is bad for black, as their king remain in the center, and we have a beautiful piece development and coordination. So queen takes d4 is suicidal almost, knight f3, queen b6, and knight e5, attacking f7. Now after e6, we have several ways to continue the initiative. Yeah, in this kind of position, we have to consider the pressure we are exerting on f7 on e6, and black's defending piece is the bishop on f5. So by playing g4, we prepare this scenario for a beautiful sacrifice. Bishop g6, and now bishop takes e6, destroying black's position. F takes e6, knight takes g6, h takes d6 is pretty forced. So queen takes e6, and after bishop e7, rook h e1, queen c7, and now we want to play bishop f4, but bishop f4 is bad due to the check. Yeah, that will be check. So knight e4, threatening knight d6, knight takes e4, rook takes e4. Now g6 is also hanging. We're tripling on the e file, and we're playing bishop g5. Okay, the other normal move is queen c7. After queen c7, we have several ways to continue our development, but knight f3 is pretty normal. e6 and long castle can be pretty good. b5, bishop b3. Yeah, we keep our bishop putting pressure on e6. a5 seems pretty aggressive, but now we are in a tempo by attacking the bishop, and as we are threatening knight takes f5 as the pawn is pinned due to the king, and a4, yeah, of course, is simply answered by knight takes f5, a takes b3, and both c takes b3 or a takes b3, as b4 is answered by knight a4, and yeah, we're doing great. So against knight h4, bishop g4, f3, a4. This is a line given by the engine. F takes g4, a takes b3, c takes b3, bishop e7, king b1. Yeah, we defend a2 and enable rook c1 to put pressure on c6 and on the queen. e6 is the most normal move, and we play d5. Yeah, this is a nice opportunity to use the situation of black's king and try to open the position in order to activate our pieces and attack the black king. So c takes d5. Yeah, obviously knight takes d5 is losing right away after knight takes d5 as we are attacking the queen. So c takes d5, knight takes d5, queen d8, knight takes f6, queen takes f6, and long castle. Overall, our pieces are better developed. Our knight is coming right away to the center, bishop b5 is there to create some threats. So knight c6 is the most normal move, and we may continue with bishop c3. Yeah, knight d4 was coming, so bishop c3 is a good move. Queen g5, king b1, and now in case of black capturing the pawn, we can play simply knight f3. And now, besides having the king in the center, white's queen is pretty exposed. Yeah, black may understand that bishop g4 is a good way to create threats. Yeah, but we have everything under control after bishop d5, and rook g1 is coming. And now the game may continue with bishop e7, rook h d1, queen h3, rook g3, queen h5, h3. Yeah, the thing is that black's king is not able to castle, and we're putting pressure. Every white's move is a threat. So bishop f5, bishop takes c6, b takes c6, and surprisingly, queen a6 is game over, as queen b7, queen c6 is coming. Black is unable to castle as rook g7 is there. So black's position collapses immediately. So as you can see, our initiative after bishop d2 is pretty strong. Even by playing the main line, black is not able to reach a safe position. So we can say that black's position in the Scandinavian is not an easy one. They are struggling. So, okay, I hope this is good for you and that brings you plenty of points. And okay, that's it for today. See you next time. Goodbye.